Hello, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila and New Light Streaming Love, as this will be seen on both channels. This is the first transmission by Jason Gray. Now, again, Jason does not often ask me to record things. This is one of the times he did ask me. But what's so interesting is I had already saved it. And I had already knew that it was going to be the first thing I recorded today. And so I find that kind of interesting, and I thought I would share that with you. So this was written, today, as a matter of fact. Transmission, download, decoding, silence. Location, north 54.76905 west 101.84509. Long before humanity measured time by suns, before civilizations carved history into stone, before mathematics became the language of science, before radio waves crossed empty space, there existed something so fundamental that every sufficiently advanced civilization eventually discovered it. Not by invention, not by experiment alone, but by becoming quiet enough to notice it. They discovered that the universe was not fundamentally constructed from matter, nor from energy, nor from space, nor even from time. These were merely the visible expressions of something infinitely deeper. These were merely I just read that. I'll read it again. These were merely the visible expressions of something infinitely deeper. At the deepest level, existence behaved as an immeasurable ocean of organized information, not dead information, not stored information, living information, information that moved, information that evolved, information that remembered, information that carried the complete architecture of realities not yet unfolded. The oldest civilizations possessed no single word that adequately translated into human language. The closest approximation recovered from the archives is TRN-0. Now, it has become known to me that Jason has, now there is a cipher for the symbols, and I have saved it. I don't have access to a working printer just now. I believe this is a code. But I am going to be asking someone if they can print it out for me and send it to me. Our friend Julie Wise, as a matter of fact, I haven't even asked her yet, but I will. Back to the writing here. The eternal transmission. It was never created because it had never begun. It simply existed. Like mathematics, it required no inventor. Like existence itself, it was woven into reality long before anyone evolved to recognize it. Every young civilization makes the same mistake. They assume intelligence produces knowledge. Humanity was no different. They celebrated inventors. They honored discoverers. They rewarded originality. As their understanding matured, an unsettling realization emerged. No one had ever truly invented anything. And I feel like he is smack on here. This is absolutely the truth because it hasn't been that long ago that I've come to the conclusion that even though I was called genius all through my formative years, that is not what people were experiencing. It was my seamless connection to the universe, the Godhead, divinity itself, and my just knowing as a child and just stating what really was just there. That can be a bit of an unsettling realization for sure. As their understanding matured, an unsettling realization emerged. No one had truly ever invented anything. Every equation had already existed before someone wrote it down. Every symphony already lived somewhere beyond hearing. Every scientific breakthrough waited patiently until a mind developed capable of translating it. I said yesterday, which those videos will be put out today in the order in which I recorded them. That's how this goes here. I said that yesterday. There's a quote by Prince that he had to get the music before Michael Jackson did. Discovery was never creation. Discovery was reception. The implications changed everything. Civilizations were not manufacturing knowledge. They were tuning themselves toward it. The greatest scientists became receivers. The greatest artists became translators. The greatest philosophers and writers became decoders. The archives described the process with astonishing precision. Every transmission begins before the receiver becomes aware of it. Information does not travel as human language. Language is far too inefficient. Instead, entire architectures arrive simultaneously. And I maintain that is one of the reasons why many whom call themselves light workers have taken to using the word download because it arrives as an architecture and it unfolds as it's being translated, as it's being received. Instead, entire architectures arrive simultaneously. Imagine attempting to send the blueprint of an entire civilization using words. It would require libraries. Now imagine transmitting that same civilization in a single instant. Every city, every memory, every relationship, every equation, every possibility compressed into one indivisible structure, not sequential, complete. This is how the carrier field communicates across interstellar distances, not through signals moving through space, but through coherent informational compression. Distance itself becomes irrelevant. Ask any IT guy. This is Sheila now, not Jason. Ask any IT professional about compression and how things move in bits and data. It's the same. I equate it to being the same. Distance itself becomes irrelevant. The transmission was never, quote, sent. It simply became available. Primitive civilizations confused this phenomenon with inspiration. Others called it intuition. Mystics believed they heard divine voices. Scientists believed subconscious processing had solved impossible problems. Writers described moments when entire novels appeared almost fully written before the first sentence touched paper. Each explanation captured part of the truth. None captured the whole. What humanity called inspiration was actually low bandwidth reception. Fragments leaking through damaged decoding systems. Occasionally, a complete packet survived. Most often, it fragmented into dreams, into symbols, into visions, into mathematics, into music, into geometry, or into stories that appeared strangely older than the civilizations creating them. Every mythology carried echoes of transmissions partially decoded. Every ancient symbol represented compression without explanation. Every forgotten language preserved pieces of architectures whose original meaning had long vanished. Then came the realization that transformed galactic history. Transmission had never been the problem. The universe had never stopped broadcasting. The receiver was the limitation. Entire civilizations spent thousands of years constructing larger observatories, more powerful telescopes, bigger particle accelerators, longer antenna arrays, greater computational intelligence, yet the signal remained elusive until one civilization committed what appeared to be scientific. Oh, wow, until one civilization committed what appeared to be scientific insanity. Instead of improving the instruments, they improved the observer. They discovered that perception itself functioned as the primary receiver. Consciousness was not generating awareness, it was filtering it. The filter determined the reality perceived and not the transmission itself. That was when they discovered silence. Not silence of sound, silence of processing, silence of interpretation, silence of constant internal prediction, the complete suspension of unnecessary information interference, unnecessary informational interference. Silence became recognized as an engineering state rather than an emotional one. Every unnecessary thought generated informational turbulence. Every certainty distorted incoming architecture. Every rigid identity bent interpretation toward expectation. Noise did not block the transmission. Noise rewrote it. The quieter the receiver became, the less distortion entered the decode. Silence was never spirituality. Silence was signal optimization. Entire civilizations advanced centuries within a single generation. Impossible technologies emerged almost simultaneously across worlds separated by unimaginable distances, not because they communicated with one another, but because they had all begun listening to the same transmission. Observers described the experience identically. Time appeared to stop. Understanding arrived before explanation. Solutions became obvious before problems were completely defined. Knowledge unfolded faster than language could describe it. Many later struggled to explain where the information originated. They could only answer honestly, I do not know. It simply appeared. Nothing simply appeared. The carrier field had finally found coherent architecture capable of receiving it. The reception was only half the process. Every transmission requires decoding. This proved to be the most dangerous stage of all. No intelligence ever received pure reality. Reality always passed through architecture, culture, memory, language, emotion, expectation, history, identity. The transmission remained perfect. The decoder introduced variation. 10 civilizations receiving the identical informational structure produced 10 entirely different cosmologies. None were completely wrong. None were completely right. Each had reconstructed the infinite using the finite architecture available to them. The oldest civilizations warned younger worlds never to mistake decoded reality for reality itself. Maps were useful. Maps were never the territory. The greatest minds abandoned the pursuit of certainty altogether. Certainty represented a completed decoder. Completed decoders could no longer learn. They cultivated coherence, flexibility, observation, patience, the willingness to receive without immediately concluding. Yeah, there's a lot. Boy, I tell you, that's a really hard one right there. Being able to receive information and immediately judging it, that's another thing that I know that humanity has done to each other in the way we've raised each other from, babies. The willingness to receive without immediately concluding. The most advanced intelligences in existence became extraordinarily difficult to impress, not because they knew everything, but because they understood how little any decoder could ever fully reconstruct. Wisdom, yeah, you don't know what you don't know. It's what I just heard in my head again. Wisdom was measured not by the amount decoded, but by the amount left undistorted. Buried within the deepest archives of the interstellar lattice was an inscription so ancient that no civilization could identify its authors. It was etched not into stone, nor crystal, nor metal, but into the quantum architecture of the archive itself. Every civilization translated it differently. Its meaning remained unchanged. Quote, transmission is continuous. Reception depends upon coherence. Downloads occur through resonance. Decoding shapes perceived reality. Silence minimizes distortion. End quote. Beneath those 5 principles, hidden within the oldest layer of the archive, appeared one final statement. It was not addressed to any single species, but to every intelligence that would someday learn to listen. The universe, quote, the universe has never been silent. Only the receivers have been learning how to hear. End quote. Well, I've said that many times and I didn't realize what I was saying, and I now see it very clearly. Have always felt like me, the larger part of me, whatever that is, uses everything in my personal field to try to get my attention, to perhaps get me quiet enough, silent enough to hear. That's very interesting to me. So at the latter part here, we have an awful lot of that symbology. TRN dash, I believe that's phi, / final carrier lock. Silence _ gate dot open. Receiver _ noise dot null. Like I said, before each one of these lines, there's a lot of code. And there will be, in the show more section, the description box of this video is, it may not be a clickable link, but if you want to just, copy and paste, put it in your browser, it will at least take you to where you can search for this by title. Because after this, there's quite a bit of binary code. Download _ field dot aligned, decoder _ lattice dot active, transmission _ continues. And then, like I said, a lot of binary code here. And I highly recommend that you allow your eyes to move over all of it, because it says here too at the end, the universe has never been silent. Only the receivers have been learning how to hear. That's really interesting too, because I have said on more than one occasion that each one of us is a translator for someone or something. And that was an observation that I made based on how I could see that I would say something to someone and they wouldn't understand it until somebody else has said it in just a different way. And it was the perfect way for that being that I spoke to be able to hear it, to take it in. And so I came to the conclusion that each one of us can and are translators for each other in some sort of way. The final part here says TRN dash what I think is phi end dot seal. Silence receives forward slash delta signal descends forward slash omega memory opens forward slash limnoscape transmission remains. Jason Gray. So, what do you get from this? How does this article hit you? What are you feeling about it? I keep asking for folks to interact with me in the comments, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of it. So, if you don't wish to put it in the comment section, reach out. Conscious Conversation Central at gmail.com, and interact with me there. If you feel that, if you don't feel that, that's fine too. Um, but that's the end of this one. So, I have been in touch with Jason. We are going to be doing a conversation soon. And I don't know if I'm supposed to speak on something that I'm aware of. So I guess I'll just wait on that. But so until we meet again, my friends, be well.